Do you know who the strongest gang in Windbreaker is? Is it Bofurin? Maybe Shishitoren? Or is there another crazy strong gang that takes the top spot? Well, that's exactly what we're going to find out in today's video, as I'll be ranking and explaining each gang. So let's get right into it with the first gang, Spaltips. These guys are a bunch of street punks out to cause destruction and mess with people for fun. We first see them in episode 1 harassing Kotoha, but yeah, Sakura stepped in and wiped the floor with them. However, as Spaltips' leader, this guy and these 4 other guys got humiliated by Sakura, they come back for revenge, and this time bringing the whole gang. And as they rolled up with bats and outnumbered Sakura, they almost took him out, until Hiragi and some Bofurin members showed up and instantly defeated them. And yeah, that's actually all we know about Spaltips. So moving on, we've got Cobalt. But the only thing we know about these guys is that they got their ass beat by Shishitoren in the special chapter promoting the newest Windbreaker game. So instead, let's talk about Keel. Keel is easily one of the shadiest gangs in the series, and they're built entirely on fear and violence. No one really knows where they came from or what their goal is. All anyone knows are the scary rumors about the crimes they've committed. However, they're easy to spot, as Keel members have these creepy white cyberpunk-looking jackets with the hoods covering their faces and the blue dragon skeleton logo stamped on the back. Now, most gangs in the series fight with their fists, but Keel instead fights with weapons like bats, pipes, and scrap wood. But there's actually a reason for that. It's because most Keel members are weak. Yeah, they're not even real fighters. So why are they members of Keel? Well, you see, Keel actually traps regular people into their gang by pretending to be nice at first, but once you step into their hideout, there's no way out. And once you're forced to be a member, you have to give them money and beat people up. And if you don't do exactly as you're told, you'll get a beating. Now, at the top, you've got Shingo Natori, who acts like he's a king, and right under him are the 5 VIPs, Kongo, Kirishima, Mogami, Kaga, and Tone, who are the gang's top fighters. And Keel's fighting style is to literally just swarm their enemies with sheer numbers and weapons. But after their huge defeat against Bofurin, Keel's numbers dropped hard, and now they're just a shadow of what they used to be. Alright, now let's talk about Zinc. And honestly, all we know about this gang is that they're rivals to Shishitoren. However, we do also know that right before Choji became the leader of Shishitoren, he and Togame straight up demolished Zinc. So yeah, they're definitely not the strongest gang out there. So next up, let's talk about Rapoiza. These guys are all about kindness and respect, as Rapoiza is basically the guardians of Keisei Street, making sure everyone in the red light district can have a good time safely. Like they do it all: bodyguard duty for the girls, breaking up fights, cleaning the streets at dawn, helping drunk people get home, and even stepping in to help shops when they're short on staff. Yeah, they're absolute legends, and their motto says it all. Even if you beat all of us, as long as the streets are safe, that's all that matters to us. Now, Rapoiza was started by Kanji Nakamura, and he built a squad of like-minded guys who just wanted to protect their home. Style-wise, Rapoiza keeps it clean with suits and formal wear. They also got a little round badge with their insignia. But don't let the fancy outfits fool you, as when it comes to fighting, they're absolute beasts. Even though they have the least amount of members than the other gangs, their fighters are tough and can easily handle being outnumbered. And the chairman, Kanji, he's always the first one charging into battle, although he does get injured a lot. Anyway, Rapoiza isn't just a gang. They're a brotherhood built on respect and loyalty, dedicated to protecting their home. Now, let's talk about Gravel. Gravel is a gang of former homeless orphans from the Tsunaba district who got together just to survive. Seriously, their main goal was simply to make enough money to eat and survive. So because of that, they'd take whatever jobs they could get, like tracking people down. Just whatever it took to keep surviving. And that's what they were doing when we see Gravel for the first time, as they'd been hired to grab Shizuka Narita, which dragged them into a mess with the Rapoiza and some Bofurin members. At first, they seemed like just another enemy gang, but after everything went down, Tsubakino from Bofurin and the Rapoiza gave them a way out, a chance to work for the community instead. And Gravel, they take it. Because at the end of the day, they weren't bad guys. They were just stuck in a bad situation. Now, the founder and leader of Gravel is Shuhei Suzuri, and the loyalty he inspires is crazy. From just a few starving kids to a whole gang, Suzuri kept everyone together, and even when they barely had any food, he always split everything equally. And his dream was simple: give everyone a better future. And his crew respects him so much that they always have his back and do whatever he says, no questions asked. Just like Rapoiza, Gravel doesn't have any uniforms. Instead, they just wear casual clothes. However, they do have a light cloth tied somewhere on their body to show they're part of the group. And when it comes to fighting, they usually charge their opponents with numbers and overwhelm their enemies. But after becoming allies with Bofurin and getting way stronger, they started focusing more on one-on-one fights. Anyway, Gravel's a gang built on survival and loyalty, and thanks to Suzuri, they all turned their lives around. Moving on from Gravel, we've got Kraken. And if you haven't heard about these guys before, it's because they actually only appear in the Windbreaker Rebel Heroes game. So why did I include them? Well, as the game story is written by Satoru Nii, the manga author of Windbreaker, and as Kraken will most likely make an appearance in the manga at some point, I had to include them. Anyway, Kraken is a gang led by the Takoya brothers, Toru and Takeru, and they've got a big crew backing them. But what really makes them dangerous, though, are those brothers, especially Toru, who's hyped up as being insanely strong. We do also know that Kraken is an enemy to Shishitoren, but yeah, that's it. Talking about Shishitoren, they're up next. Shishitoren was one of the first real gangs introduced in the series, and these guys were no joke, as Shishitoren was all about strength and power. And when we first see them, they're straight up ruthless, chasing down a middle schooler and even laughing when one of their own got kicked in the face. So yeah, not exactly the nicest guys. Now, if you were weak enough to lose a fight, you lost your jacket and got kicked out the gang. That was the rule set by the guy at the top, Choji Tomiyama, one of the strongest fighters in the entire series. And by Choji's side is another strong fighter, Joe Togame. Now, outfit-wise, Shishitoren rocked bright orange and white jerseys with embroidered lion heads. And as I said, these orange jerseys used to run their territory through pure violence, and they also had a strict deal with Bofurin which basically said, stay on your side, we stay on ours. If anyone broke that deal, it was war. That's why we later see Choji storm into Furin High and ready to throw hands. But now, things are way different. As after Umemiya beat Choji and Sakura took down Togame, they both had a major wake-up call and realized that the way they were running Shishitoren was completely wrong. So now, Shishitoren's all about growing stronger together, actually helping their members, and yeah, finally having fun while doing it. And also, today Shishitoren is one of Bofurin's closest allies, and they're also way stronger than when we first met them. Reaching the top 3 strongest gangs in the series, let's first talk about Noroshi. Noroshi is a whole different beast compared to the other gangs, as this squad is made up of only 10 guys, but every single one of them is an elite, battle-crazy monster. And oh yeah, they all hate Bofurin. As while Umemiya and Bofurin are all about peace and protecting the town, Noroshi's dream is the total opposite. They want to take Furin High and Makochi back to the old days, where it was survival of the fittest and pure chaos in the streets. And if you didn't know, all Noroshi guys were actually from Umemiya's generation at Furin High, but they ended up leaving because they couldn't stand what it was becoming. So after leaving, Yamato Endo created Noroshi and built this small but insanely powerful gang. And if you don't believe me that they're strong, Umemiya himself said that they literally struggled to survive every time they clashed. All Noroshi members can do whatever they want, as long as it ultimately helps them achieve these 2 goals. 1. Take down Umemiya and Bofurin. 2. Burn Makochi to the ground and rebuild it into a lawless town where only the strong survive. Now, at the top of Noroshi, you've got Yamato Endo and the monster Chika Takiishi. And although Endo is the leader, Takiishi is basically the one calling the shots, as Endo just does everything his lord and savior Takiishi says. These 2 are then backed up by Banjo, Shakushi, Tarumi, Hashirao, Sugichi, and Masuda. And every single one of them is super dangerous on their own, but together, they're a nightmare. Moving on from Noroshi, let's talk about the second strongest gang in the series, and that's Bofurin. Bofurin is made up of the students from Furin High, and they're not just a gang of punks anymore. They're the literal defenders of the entire city of Makochi, and it's all thanks to their leader, Hajime Umemiya. And as they have become the symbol of hope and safety for the whole town, the people of Makochi were actually the ones who gave them the name Bofurin, which means Windbreaker, and their motto says anyone past this point who causes pain, who brings destruction, who holds evil in their heart, will be purged by Bofurin without exception. Yeah, you seriously do not want to mess with them. But as I said before Umemiya stepped up, Furin High was just a lawless mess. But Umemiya transformed Furin High beyond recognition, and now Bofurin's got a massive, organized structure. At the top, you've got Umemiya, and right under him are the 4 Heavenly Kings, and each king runs their own team. Taman team, led by Toma Hiragi, Jikoku team, led by Tasuku Tsubakino, Zojo team, led by Takumi Momoshi, and Komoku team, led by Saku Mizuki. Then, under them, you've got grade captains and vice captains running the classes, guys like Sakura and Kanji. So yeah, Bofurin's basically a small army. But don't think it's just all numbers. Almost every student is a capable fighter who can hold their own in a fight. But even though they're strong, fighting only happens when it's necessary, like protecting their home. Uniform-wise, Bofurin keeps it clean with the black Furin High Gakurin jackets, and everyone adding their own personal touches underneath. Anyway, Bofurin is the shield of Mikochi, strong, united, and ready to fight whenever their home needs them. Finally, last but definitely not least, we've got the strongest gang in all of Windbreaker, the Nroshi Alliance. When Noroshi was gearing up to go and attack Bofurin, they had teamed up with other crazy strong fighters and gangs, like Kaido Obiko and the Shimada brothers, Tenjin and Neo. And as Noroshi alone already were insanely strong, adding more strong members to the gang, the Noroshi Alliance has to edge it out as the absolute strongest gang in all of Windbreaker. Which gang do you think is the strongest, and which gang is your favorite? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and watch this video next.